Hi, my name is Melanie, and I'm gonna talk to you about the story The Outsider. The story The Outsider starts with a narrator, which is unnamed, and his characteristics are unknown. He lives in a big castle where there's no light, there's no mirrors, and when he goes outside the castle, there's no sun. He also talks about a big long tower which leads to an unknown outer sky. One day he decides to crawl this stairless tower to see the light that he saw in the books he read. But when he finally makes it, he understands that light is definitely not for him. The exposition. There's a narrator living in a castle with no light and no mirrors. The rising action. The narrator is craving for light. The climax. He now decides to crawl a tower and to see the light. And when he goes up, he starts walking and arrives at another castle and enters through a window. The falling action. The people in the castle start screaming and running away. And the resolution, the narrator is also scared. He sees a horrifying thing, and then he finally realizes that it is his own reflection. So, in this story, the only character at all is this narrator. He doesn't know nothing about himself, so we kind of don't know nothing about him. He is craving the light that he saw in the books, and so he one day decides to crawl this tower. He feels that bones and skeletons are normal and that human beings are not. In this story, the author uses a lot of foreshadowing. I'm gonna read you some examples. Smell everywhere as of piled up corpses of dead generations. So this made me think he is living among dead. Sunny world beyond the endless tower. Why is his world sunnyless? Unknown outer sky. So why is it unknown? Why hasn't he been there yet? Bones and skeletons as everyday events. Why are bones and skeletons normal and human beings are not? And in the story, it also talks about a tower with no stairs and a locked portal of stone. Why is it so difficult to go up? It seems as the tower isn't meant to be crawled and the portal isn't meant to be opened. All of these examples lead the reader to think that the narrator is in the underworld trying to go see the light in the living world. And it kind of isn't for him because apparently he has been dead for a very long time, even though he thinks he's young. We can infer it has been a long time because at the end of the story, he describes his reflection as putrefied, detestable, and monstrosity. The story takes place in an underground castle which had a tower that lead to, and I quote, a solid ground decked and diversified by marble slabs and columns, which is clearly a cemetery. It says the narrator walked through meadows and forgotten roads until he reached his final destination, which was a big wooded castle. This reminds me of The Walking Dead because I picture a walker going through meadows and forgotten roads. So the subject I chose was death, and the theme sentence is, "It was never light, so that I used sometimes candles and gazed steadily at them for relief, nor was there any sun outdoors." So I mentioned before that he read books, but I also said there was no light, so he read with candles. So I find ironic how the narrator is surprised of his appearance. He seems to know throughout the whole story that he's dead, and he talks about the living beings excluding himself. He talks about the conception he had of a living person, which makes me think he knows he's not a living person. But at the same time, he doesn't remember anything. So maybe he knows he's not a living person, but maybe he thinks he's something else, something vivid and not dead. So this story has a lot of nightmarish elements. There's darkness, there's a big creepy castle, there's corpses, there's bats, rats, spiders, there's a big black tower, and the narrator's horrifying reflection. This is by far the best story I have read. It, I really liked how the author is so clever when leading the reader to an unexpected but at the same time predictable ending. It is unexpected because we don't know what the narrator will encounter once he goes up, but at the same time is predictable because we know for sure the narrator is a dead